Okay, hello everybody. We've got some interesting shit to watch right now.
Uh, is the State Department currently preparing?
So let's take a look at Secretary of State Mike Pompeo responding to some question and having some very interesting answers.
Is the State Department currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team? And if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
A smooth transition. Oh, he's going to accept the fact that Biden has been elected to a second Trump administration. Ah, fuck. God damn. He conned us. Good on you, Mike Pompeo. So, yeah, he's refusing to accept the truth of the election, but hey, the Republicans have plenty of good arguments to refuse the state of the election right now. After all, there has been so much electoral fraud, that has been proven to be wrong. So they are making even at the state cases that some states in Pennsylvania that have been overwhelmingly won by Trump had a huge number of electoral fraud. They are desperate. They don't know what to do anymore. And what the only thing they can operate on for the Trump administration in the emotional state of the fragile little baby in chief. This is crazy, but none of the Trump administration will go against Trump's will and say that the election was indeed won by Biden.
Right? We're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there'll be electors selected. There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. The world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, a minute afternoon, will also be successful.
So you believe there's widespread voter fraud, that the reports that we're getting from Pennsylvania, from Michigan, showing vote totals in massive leads or significant leads with 99% reporting are going to be overturned, and that the United States failed to conduct a fraudulent free election?
Rich, I'm the Secretary of State. I'm getting calls from all across the world. These people are watching our election. They understand that we have a legal process. They understand that this takes time. Right? It took us 37 plus days in an election back in 2000. We conducted a successful transition then. I'm very confident that we will count, and we must count every legal vote. We must make sure that any vote that wasn't lawful ought not be counted. That dilutes your vote if it's done improperly. Got to get that right. When we get it right, we'll get it right. We're in good shape.
So, I wonder how is the time to receive all the calls from all over the world when he's got to deal with the emotional state of the baby in chief, but I guess he finds it. This is important, the use of the word transition. This is what Republicans are good at since several decades now. They use a particular language for what they say that is an attempt at doing some awful shit to be smoother and more acceptable. So there is an example of in Georgia, many books have been rewritten to have to use an impersonal pronouns to talk about the awful shit that has been done during slavery, and personal pronouns for the good thing that has been done. So, for example, some slave owner were treating their slaves very good, and right next to it, oh, torture existed during the slavery. This is a way to smooth everything that the Republicans are defending from the bottom of their heart, because if they were not defending it, they would not be able to construct that entire new vision of the world where you can accept everything everything that is awful in order to accept a Republican leadership. Well, you can also simply just don't know a lot of politics, as many people do, and vote Republicans because you want lower taxes, even though, well, this is the opposite. If you're an average American, you want lower taxes, vote for Democrats because Republicans will fuck you up because they are decreasing taxes only for the wealthy. But anyway, you can be sufficiently uninformed about politics for believing that the Republicans are the right way to vote for you as a middle class, as a poor class American person. But you can also just have drink the Kool-Aid that is with an incredible amount of resources and power being spread around America and even outside of America, and even in France, we feel the consequences of such a constant lying, constant manipulation of the information about history, about the actual politics, and everything. Now let's look at Mike McConnell, that obviously is going to do better and is going to accept the fact that Biden won. This is Mitch McConnell is a reasonable Republican. I don't know who would ever believe that.
Presidential race. Obviously, no states have yet certified their election results. We have at least one or two states that are already on track for a recount. And I believe the president may have legal challenges underway in at least 5 states. The core principle here is not complicated. In the United States of America, all legal ballots must be counted. Any illegal ballots must not be counted. The process should be transparent or observable by all sides, and the courts are here to work through concerns.
Everything has been said. So, first of all, this is very funny how recounts that were very unpopular with the Republicans and truthfully even with the Democratic Party suddenly becomes incredibly popular, and they are going to do as many recounts as they can do. Now, he said everything because he goes through the fact that there would be legal and illegal votes, even though we know that electoral fraud is a thing that is almost non-existent in the country. There was like 6 votes in the past 2 decades that was electoral vote fraud, and then he succeeds that by the court is obviously going to decide the end result of the election because they know that they have packed the court with Republicans that supposedly are on their side, although for now the claims they have about the election not only are not enough to make them win the election, which is wow, the amount of stupidity for them to fight over something that's not even gonna make them win is incredible. But even worse than that, this is so stupid that even the Republican court justice are not accepting those claims. He said everything. He's a very clever and manipulative person. He knows how to do each job, and if the Republican Party got someone to thank for their power right now, it's not Trump. It truthfully is Mitch McConnell. So this was my takes on what's happening in America nowadays, and yeah, this is a bit scary. They might really not accept the result of the election. So let's hope everything's going to happen fine and Trump is going to get the fuck out of the Oval Office. But truthfully, the only reason there hasn't been some unrest is because the Republicans, most of them are, especially the most radical of them, are just not believing in it. So for now, that's okay. Once they have to face the reality of the facts, if they ever have to face it, hopefully Mike Pompeo and Mitch Connel are not going to be able to do much about it. The court justices neither. Well, then there might be a civil war.